It is another episode of the Redmond Footy View. We are going big, we are going hard, we are going strong on this series, mate. And I actually really just want to say, like, I would not do these videos without the absolute love and support that you all show. Listen, I don't have the biggest channel on YouTube, nowhere near, and that's absolutely fine. But you know what, mate? I just love the interaction that I have with you. I love the idea of this show that I've made, and I just can't thank you enough for all the support, honestly, man. It really does mean the world to me. Now, we move into what this video is going to be concluding today. Boys and girls, the Premier League returns tomorrow. I cannot wait, and therefore you know what that means. 2020-21 Premier League predictions. Come it. Now, mate, I've left this as last minute can come. Theo Thogden has just uploaded his Premier League predictions yesterday, same with Spencer FC. Loads of other YouTubers have been throwing it in there as well. But I've gave myself the advantage of leaving it till the very last second to get the absolute best view on what this Premier League season could entail. Now, last year I only got 2 out of 20 teams right. I'm sure you can guess which ones they was, in Liverpool and Man City. But yeah, before I do get into it, make sure you're leaving all your comments down below. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you have got notifications turned on to never miss a James Redmond TV video. So obviously you know the way this works. If you watch last year's video, it will go from 20th place, move all the way up to 1st place, and mate, let's just stop wasting time and let's get into it. So in 20th place, I've gone with West Brom. Now listen, West Brom fans, I know that you're going to be having a go at me. First off, I just want to say, very, very impressive on getting automatic, promotion last year. Slaven Bilic has done a great job with that team and getting them back to the Premier League. He's been in the Premier League before, so he's got that experience. He's just confirmed the signing of Matheus Pereira as well, who went on loan at West Brom last year, one of their more standout players. And of course, a lot more can happen in the transfer window, but as of right now, as of the way I see it, I have got to put you guys last, and I am sorry about that. Let me know if there's any West Brom fans watching why I could be wrong. Of course, I'm open to all ears. It's so hard to put these teams in a specific position, but yous are the first team to go down for me. Anyway, moving on, above West Brom in 19th place, I'm going for Aston Villa. Now, I know, of course, a good team. They've got top players like Jack Grealish, John McGinn. On top of this, bringing in very good players like, Ollie Watkins from Brentford. I think that's a sound signing. Matty Cash from Nottingham. But these are not Premier League proven players or haven't played in the best of the best leagues in world football. But Aston Villa came close last year to going relegated. So if you think by just bringing in a couple of Championship players is really going to keep you out of that, I'm not too sure. So I do want to see a lot more from Aston Villa in this transfer window. Aston Villa fans, let me know if you agree, but I am going with Aston Villa to be the second team to be relegated. And then the last team to be relegated, mate, West Ham United. I'm putting them at 18th, and don't get me wrong, it was very hard to put them 18th because it's so close between them and 17th, who I'll tell you in a sec. But I just see the first 10 games being too difficult for David Moyes. I also possibly see David Moyes being the first manager to be sacked, meaning that he won't get the time till the end of the season to keep West Ham up. But I don't think he will get that time, and I also haven't seen much improvement in the transfer window for West Ham. So to give them an improved position, you've got to see improvement, and I haven't saw that from West Ham. So West Ham fans, I'm putting you 18. Right, so that's the relegation zone. Now let's make our way up the table. So in 17th, like I said, 17th and 18th was hairs, mate. I put Southampton, and the reason why I put Southampton is because I think they've just got a bit more quality than West Ham. Of course, one of their greatest signings in recent history in Danny Ings, mate. Southampton, we buy a lot of your top players, but we just gave you a nice little one back because Danny Ings has been quality. I still think they could do a lot more to show much more improvements, but I am confident Southampton have enough in their team to just stay up, and that is why I'm putting them 17th. Now 16th, a team that I actually predicted to go down last year in Brighton. Obviously, they've just signed our man, Adam Lallana, a great signing. I like what Brighton have done since they came in the Premier League, mate. They've always been able to maintain themselves as a stable Premier League club. So Brighton fans, I think yous are going to do more than enough to stay in the league. I think yous are a good team, and I'm going to put yous 16th. Now 15th, another newly promoted team. I'm going with Fulham. Fulham fans, I like your team. I like what yous have done with it. Obviously you came to the Premier League not last year, the year before, got relegated straight away. That's one thing I think is going to be in the Fulham players' mind, on top of the fact they've made additions to the squad, which is brilliant always. Keeping players like Mitrovic, I thought was very, very important in your time in the Championship. And you know that the players are going to be a bit more wary this time round and will definitely not want to go straight back down to the Championship. Now 14th place I've gone with Palace. I think one thing that is always important for them in every transfer window is keeping hold of Wilfried Zaha. So far they've been able to do that. Of course there's more time for things to change. So brilliant that they've done that. On top of that, Roy Hodgson doing a great job at that club, you know, in the time that he's been there, mate. He really has let that club alight and also got them in some good finishes in the Premier League. But like I've mentioned about a few of the other clubs, I need to see improvement. I need to see signs that you are going to show advancements in the next season. And from Roy Hodgson, of course, another favourite who could be the first to get sacked this season, I just don't foresee him really advancing into them European spots that I think most Palace fans feel like they can reach. Now 13th place, this is the last of all of the newly promoted clubs. I put Leeds United, of course the champions of the Championship last year, mate. Of course Liverpool are playing them tomorrow. Check out my most recent video if you haven't already. But listen, mate, I think Leeds are going to bring to the Premier League a bit of a different style of football, you know, a style of football that the Premier League isn't quite used to, and you know they are going to be motivated to give a bunch of teams nosebleeds this season. You know, when you think of the Wolves who have came up in the past, you know, the Sheffield United, the teams that you don't really expect to do so well, they cause a lot of, the big sides specifically, a lot of problems, and I can foresee Leeds being one of them type of teams again this year. So Leeds fans, if there's any of you watching, leave me in the comments down below. Do you agree with this prediction? Do you think I'm being too nice? Do you think I'm not being nice enough? Let me know in the comments down below. Getting closer and closer to the top half of the table. 12th place, I'm going with Sean Dyche and his Burnley men. Burnley have always been one of them clubs, you know, of course, they finished in Europe a few seasons ago. Since then, have finished in and around the mid-table spots, and that's what I foresee happening again. I think they've got a solid team there, solid base of the club. You know, great fans, of course, they won't be in the stadium, but it is just such a nice club. They've always been able to be stable. So Burnley, I see you're doing all right, 12th place. Now 11th, now this is a team that finished in the top half of the table last year, but bear in mind I predicted these to finish 20th. Sheffield United fans, I am going to show you the respect that you absolutely 100% deserve. I think you're going to finish around mid-table. I know it's probably not quite where you might have wanted to see. I thought that if there was any chance of you getting Europe, weirdly enough, it was the first season that you got promoted to the Premier League last year. I think you've missed out on that. I do foresee, you know, Sheffield being a bit more of a mid-table team. So yeah, that concludes my bottom half of the table. Now let's talk into the big boys. Let's move into the bottom half of the top half of the table. Let's move into the European spots and let's move into them all-important top 4 places and of course the champions. So in 10th place, I am going with the almighty Newcastle. I love the transfer window that they've had this summer. I love the approach that they've taken. I like everything that Steve Bruce has done at that club. It really is great. I like the fact they've been able to keep hold of St. Maximin. I love the signings of Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser. I think they're just doing absolutely everything and more right at that club. And that's why I see Newcastle showing quite a bit of improvement this season and edging into that top half of the table. 9th place now, 9th place is Everton, and I've gave Everton a lot of respect over the years. In fact, last year I think I predicted them to finish 6th or 5th, and that was because of the transfer window that they had. Now, I'm not going to get fooled by that again. Don't get me wrong, Everton have had a solid transfer window. I think their midfield is going to be brilliant next year. Of course, this is Carlo Ancelotti's first full season as Everton manager as well, so that's going to be perfect for him. I still don't see them breaking into them top European spots. You know, to fill in from 12th all the way into that top 6 is a very difficult thing to do, and I think if they would have done it, they would have done it by now. They haven't really even came close. So yeah, right, rapido, 8th place, Leicester City. I thought they missed out their chance last year to get the Champions League by a long shot. I think every year for Leicester City is just more and more dangerous because they seem to just lose more and more of their top class players. Unbelievable players that if they stayed at that club, and most likely would have if they were in the Champions League, like it made it just do see them dropping a few places, and I'm going to put them 8th. Now 7th, right, oof. This is where it gets exciting. This is the European qualifying spot, the first European qualifying spot. Spurs. I'm putting Spurs now, of course, Jose Mourinho. This is like Carlo Ancelotti with Everton. This is first full season under the reins as Tottenham manager. And you've got to take into consideration, mate, like what did they finish last year? 7th? still above Arsenal, and they had so many injuries and stuff like that, had so many first team players out for the majority of the season. But don't you think that should be a chance for Tottenham to learn from those mistakes? So when Harry Kane goes injured, shouldn't that give you a bit of an inkling to go out and buy a striker? But for now, I'm going to put them 7th, and obviously that's a very underachieving season for them, but I just think other teams that I'm going to put above them are doing it better. Now, the first European spot, I'm giving to Wolves. I like Wolves, I really like the club, I like the way they play. Always look at them as the smaller version of Man City, don't get me wrong, but I like the fact they've been able to keep hold of Jimenez. I like the fact they've been able to keep hold of Adama Traore, who I would certainly take at Liverpool. Literally, and on top of this, they've only added to the squad, which is something that their rivals in, Tottenham and Leicester haven't been able to do. That's why I think Wolves and Nuno is going to get the trump on them teams this year in finishing 6th, and I think that's obviously a very good spot for Wolves to finish. Now we move into the top 5, a team that I thought was actually going to get into the top 4 last year, ended up finishing 8th, but did win the FA Cup in the end, picked it up. Arsenal, I am putting you 5th place. Still not quite enough to put you in the top 4. I do feel like that would be a bit ambitious. Not impossible, but ambitious. Just with regarding that, we obviously don't know for sure how good they're going to look under Mikel Arteta, but of course they've had a great start. To win 2 trophies, regardless if one of them's a questionable one, who cares? 2 trophies in a short space of time is unbelievable. I also like the additions that they've made at the back. Don't get me wrong, I still think they can make the team stronger, but Arsenal are only showing signs of improvement, hence why I'm going to put them 5th. Also, I think that players like Pepe is going to show more signs. But I do just think, even though the signing of Gabriel is good and stuff like that, I just think that defence will make Arsenal just about miss out on top 4. Now we move into the top 4, the most exciting part of the video in my opinion. First off, I'm going with Manchester United. I think they just about squeeze into the top 4. Obviously been so much better since the addition of Bruno Fernandes, now signing Van de Beek as well. And listen mate, if Man United can stay lucky with injuries, they can keep all their players fit, they can most certainly have a push on this season. But the issue with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is consistency, momentum. He's never been able to keep that going. He's shown promising signs here and there, but now this year he really needs to show that he can manage a Man United team to victories on a consistent basis. And I feel like if he can do that, then that team, that squad, which is more than good enough to be in the top 4, will get top 4. So Man United fans, I know we don't have a great relationship, but I've got a bit more faith in you this year to at least squeeze into that top 4, as much as I hope you don't. So 4th place, Manchester United. 3rd place, ooh, a bit saucy now, yeah? I'm going with Chelsea. Chelsea fans, I am finally jumping on the train of Frank Lampard. Don't get me wrong, I think that there's a lot of pressure on him this season. I think it's actually, even just a few losses could really change the morale of the club. But listen, mate, that man got what he was given, made it work, and has now gone out, bought his own players, going to only add them to the squad, and even possibly could make it a 3-horse title race this year. That's a very big possibility with Frank Lampard and Chelsea. And then we move into the top 2 teams, 2nd place and 1st place. This was, of course, the only prediction I got right last year. In 2nd place, or in fact, no, let me announce the Premier League champions. In 1st place, I am going to go with, surprise, surprise, my champions, my boys, gonna do it again, the Reds, Liverpool FC. Of course, I am never gonna go against my team ever. Now listen, although I don't see City winning the league, I actually think City have more of a chance of finishing inside that top 2 more than anyone else, including Liverpool. I know that's kind of weird considering I've gave Liverpool the league itself, but I just think Man City are always good enough to be inside that top 2. You just don't know if Liverpool can quite keep hold of that consistency. Of course, we've done it for the past 2 years, so we most likely can. But we are just going to need to see a few more signs. But that is why I've gone Man City 2nd. And as for Liverpool, mate, the gap is just huge to fill. 1st place and 2nd place was so big. It was the biggest, gap out of all the teams last year. Our team is still very young. It's only going to get more experience. Like if you look at teams of old, like Man United teams under Sir Alex, and they had the core players, the Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes, Wayne Rooney. They had a core of players. Same with Manchester City over recent years. Only recently, the Vincent Kompany's and David Silvers have started to leave. But for such a long time, they were so strong with that. And I feel like now Liverpool are building that type of thing with that, you know, with our team and our starting 11. Hence why I see us getting it done again for well, not a third year in a row, second year in a row. We nearly got it done in the first year. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think of all my predictions. Do you think I'm close with some of them? Do you think I'm going to do well? Hopefully I just do better than last year. That's the #1 goal. But like I said, leave all your predictions in the comments down below. Anyone who gets the most predictions right, because obviously I'm going to be reacting back to this next year, I am going to include them in that video, mate, because I think this is the most difficult thing to do. So even to get 5 teams right is brilliant. So leave your predictions in the comments down below. Make sure you've been commenting all the way through, interacting. Like I said, I love interacting with you and socialising with you through these videos. It's boss. Make sure you liked, make sure you subscribed, make sure you've got notifications turned on, and stay tuned for tomorrow's video where I react to the Liverpool Leeds game, which will be boss. So anyway, thank you for watching and peace.